Sally Anne Bowman was an 18-year-old, warm, talented young woman. She followed the path of Amy Winehouse and Adele, seemingly destined to shine in the entertainment industry. However, after an argument with her boyfriend, she never returned home. Born on October 5, 1987 in Swindon, Sally, and was a promising star with her lively personality and charming smile. She was said to have the ability to light up any room she entered. In Brighton, Sally Anne loved the stage and enjoyed performing in front of an audience. She could sing, dance, and had studied at a prestigious performing arts school, the British Academy of Arts, which had produced stars like Adele and Amy Winehouse. Sally Anne was working hard to pursue her dreams with her slim figure and classic beauty. She was also a successful model, despite being only 18 in age when many people are still unsure about what they want to do. Sally Anne was a vibrant young woman who seemed to have everything revolving around her. She had studied drama at the academy before expanding her career into dance. Family was the center of Sally Anne's life, and she cherished the time spent with them. But her desire for independence led her to leave home and rent a room in a nearby apartment. It wasn't luxurious, but it was her own space, and she loved it. On September 24th, 2005, Sally Anne spent a relaxing day at her mother's house, preparing for a night out with her sister Nicole and friends at a bar on High Street in Croydon, downtown. She told her mom that she loved her before heading down the hallway, not wanting to go to London. She and her friends decided to have a local girls' night out. They danced, drank, and laughed nonstop. By 1 a.m., Shaun and her friends were having the time of their lives. They took a taxi to her aunt's house, but she didn't feel like continuing the party. She had recently broken up, and the experience still haunted her. Sally Anne had been in a relationship with Lewis Broughton for 2 years with many ups and downs. A few weeks earlier, they had officially broken up when they arrived at her aunt's house. She called Lewis, who was out having fun with friends in Kingston, still reeling from the breakup. She made up a story to get his attention, claiming that her sister Nicole had been arrested for fighting and she needed him to pick her up. Though he didn't want to leave his friends, he still drove to pick her up, not wanting her to be stranded. It was already 2:20 a.m., and on their way back down Blenheim Avenue, they started arguing the pain of the breakup, and rising emotions made the atmosphere tense. They accused each other of cheating. It was a young love, and the argument lasted about 2 hours, leaving a deep mark on Lewis's memory. He recalled that they both were jealous, thinking the other was with someone else, but there were no loud shouts, just harsh sounds that outsiders couldn't hear. Afterward, they made up and kissed, but Sally Anne didn't want him to leave, and they argued again. By about 4:15 a.m., Sally Anne got out of the car, and Lewis drove off. He didn't know that would be the last time he would see her. A neighbor reported hearing moans and screams, but the street remained quiet with no sounds or shadows of anyone else around. They returned to bed, but 5 minutes later the screams still left them uneasy. A deep sound and a mournful cry echoed, but there was no sign of anyone nearby. They thought it might be a fox, an animal common in London. The next morning around 6:30 a.m., the neighbor noticed something unusual, a mannequin-like leg sticking out from behind an abandoned trash bin. Upon getting closer, they were faced with a horrific sight. Sally's mother, Linda Bowman, heard noises at the front door early in the morning and thought her daughter had been locked out. But when she opened the door, she was stopped by 3 police officers. The officer delivered the dreadful news. Sally Anne would never be coming home. Linda recalled screaming, feeling as though the world was falling apart. Her youngest daughter had been attacked by someone with a sharp object until she stopped breathing. Just a few hours later, Sally Anne's sister and mother had to face the painful reality of identifying her body. Linda shared that at first she thought it was a cruel joke. When she entered the room, she briefly thought the body wasn't her daughter's because of the black hair. But as she approached, she recognized Sally Anne's adorable nose. 2 days after Sally Anne was discovered dead, the family decided to look further into the case. Detective Steve Hardy Candy visited Linda's house to tell the family what the police knew. On the evening of September 25th, after receiving a report, the quiet street was sealed off. The police acted swiftly, and the shocking case rocked the community, with all eyes turning to Louis Ian's ex-boyfriend. Lewis recounted his last moments with her, saying he wanted to get back into the car, but she wouldn't let him grabbing his shirt and ripping his necklace, causing him pain in his neck. A few minutes later, he got in the car and locked the door while Sally and walked away holding her purse through the rearview mirror. He saw her heading toward the front garden of the house, and that was the last time he saw her. Lewis was arrested on September 26th, being the last person to see her alive and having had an argument with her. The torn shirt and broken necklace could indicate she had been defending herself. However, there were no witnesses, no surveillance cameras, and only DNA left behind as evidence of the perpetrator. The autopsy revealed that Sally had been stabbed multiple times with a sharp object, and even more shockingly, there were bite marks on her neck, chest, and face. Lewis's DNA didn't match, and he was released after 4 days. The case slowly went cold. If Lewis wasn't the killer, then who was that night? In September became a source of unease for many in the area that night, while Sally was drinking at the Lloyd's pub 2 miles away. Mark Dixie was celebrating his 35th birthday at the Windsor Castle pub. He was a chef spending the night partying with friends. After drinking heavily, he left the pub around 2:30 a.m. and headed to a party on Avondale Road. He left behind a scene on the downstairs sofa, seemingly spending the night alone. 9 months later in June 2006, Mark Dixie was arrested after getting into a fight at a bar in Crawley during an English football match. People were drunk, and the situation was chaotic with the police taking everyone involved. Although the assault was minor, the police took DNA samples. When Mark cried at the police station, the officers were surprised and confused. However, the reason for his emotions soon became clear. It took 2 weeks for the DNA sample to enter the system, and the results were shocking. Mark Dixie's DNA perfectly matched the DNA found on Sally Anne Bowman's body. On June 28, 2006, he was arrested, but he claimed his innocence. In February 2008 at the Old Bailey Court, he stood trial. The jury learned that Dixie had returned to his home on Avondale Road that fateful night, 3 weeks before Sally's death. He had been kicked out of his home by his girlfriend and son. That night, he tried to convince his girlfriend to take him back. After sleeping on a friend's sofa, he refused to leave with them the next morning, locking the bedroom door to leave through the front door without being noticed. It remains unclear whether he happened to encounter Sally or if he planned to commit the crime in court. He claimed that he found Sally unconscious and that he was not her killer, only biting her cheek after realizing she was dead. This defense seemed forced, but it was all he had. He pointed to Sally having argued at the Lloyd's pub before her death, but the jury didn't believe him. Moreover, this wasn't Mark Dixie's first crime, but his 17th at 16, he had attacked a woman in a car, tied her to a door, and set the car on fire, but he narrowly escaped punishment. They just deported him without fulfilling their responsibility. Sally was a star with a bright future, but Mark Dixie brutally ended her life on February 22nd, 2008. After 3 hours of deliberation, the jury found him guilty. He was sentenced to at least 34 years in prison, one of the longest sentences in the UK at that time. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for future updates. See you in the next video.